Nissan's been in the EV game for years. In fact, the best-selling EV for, well, a very long time was the Leaf. Well, now they're back with a second EV, the 2023 Ariya. The all-electric crossover is expected to land in US showrooms in the fall of 2022, starting at around $40,000. Ahead of that, I'm taking the latest Nissan EV for a spin in Spain. But what I'm driving today isn't exactly what we're going to get in the United States. In fact, this is the European version, and it is a pre-production car. The US will get two versions. The less expensive front-wheel drive one will ship with either a 66 kilowatt hour or 91 kilowatt hour battery pack and a range of up to 300 miles according to Nissan. On the power front, it'll have 238 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. That's essentially what I'm driving now, or what I'm about to be driving. This is the European spec version though, so the suspension tuning is a bit different than what we'll get in the United States. Meanwhile, the more powerful all-wheel drive version with 389 horsepower and an impressive 442 pound-feet of torque, when outfitted with the 91 kilowatt-hour battery pack, will have a target range of 265 miles. So instead, I'm driving this, the two-wheel drive version, but not on a road. I am in Spain, but I am on a track that has been set up to recreate different driving environments. So we have a little city environment, we have a mountain road environment, we have a highway environment. It's all a lot of cones. There are a lot of cones that I'm dealing with right now. It's hard for me to really judge what the suspension is going to be like in the US spec version, but so I'm just going to try to guess. I should be fine. This car doesn't have too much body roll so far. They kept repeating that this is not a rocket ship. It's not a missile. And that's totally fine, to be honest, because most people don't need an EV that's a missile. They need an EV that'll get them to work and they can use to take their kids to soccer practice and go to the football game on the weekend. No one needs, well, most people don't need, plaid. Right now, just in the short time I've been in this vehicle, they've sort of pulled it off. The acceleration feels nice. It's very nice. It's nice and smooth. The braking feels solid. The interior design is actually quite nice. They are using a minimalist feel, which most automakers are doing that with their EVs, but it still feels really nice. In fact, it feels nicer than your typical Nissan. You have these haptic controls right here that are just sort of lights here in the center dash. You have this center console that you can actually move forward and back, so you can set it up the way you like it. Instead of a glove box, you have this center storage area that just pops open like this. It's powered on the higher trim levels. On the lower trim levels, you just sort of pull it out. And it has these great little design elements that include what looks like a Japanese lantern here in the footwell. Overall, the entire experience feels more like an Infiniti than a Nissan. There are some things that are missing from the vehicle because it is a pre-production. These are prototypes, the European prototypes that we're driving right now. So there are things that are missing. For example, the voice assistant, Alexa integration, and more importantly, ProPilot Assistant, their driver's assistance system. They have a 2.0 coming out that'll be available for this vehicle, and it's hands-free like Super Cruise and Blue Cruise. So at some point, once this vehicle comes to the United States and it's a production vehicle, we'll be able to test and see how well it does against the offerings from GM and Ford. In the Ariya, Nissan says that it will support charging up to 130 kilowatts. Now that is a bit lower than the 150 we're seeing on more vehicles, and a lot lower than the EV6, the Ioniq 5, and the Model Y and 3, which all four of those support 250 kilowatts. Now, what Nissan says is that thanks to thermal management, the charging curve of the Ariya at 130 will actually charge pretty well, because instead of getting that spike that some cars get where it's hitting the top of the supported charging and then sort of tapers off, the Ariya will go up to the top and then sort of stay there a bit longer. So it should charge, hopefully, in the real world at the same time-ish as a 150 kilowatt supported vehicle. At home, it'll offer AC charging up to 7.2 kilowatts. I have faulted the Nissan Leaf for being boring. It's a good car. There's nothing wrong with the Nissan Leaf. It's a great little EV, but it just doesn't have, I don't know, it just feels like it feels very vanilla. This vehicle, again, it's not a fast car. They're not building a Mach-E competitor. They're not building a Model Y performance competitor, but there's something, it does feel special. And a lot of it has to do with the interior design. You know, the interior design of this vehicle is really nice. The exterior design, it's essentially a really nice Rogue, a futuristic Rogue is what I can say. But it does, so far, I'm actually enjoying this vehicle. It's got the jazz hands that the Nissan Leaf is missing. Jazz hands is a technical automotive reporter term. The 2023 Nissan Ariya will show up in US showrooms this fall, with the two-wheel drive showing up in early fall and the all-wheel drive and the e-Force version showing up in late fall. For more automotive coverage in the rain in Spain from Jarama Raceway, be sure to subscribe to Engadget.